Yo! What's up, people? Totally local podcast, colorful characters, local businesses and entrepreneurs in and around the Jersey Shore area. Monmouth County, Ocean County, you know the deal. You know what we're about. Aaron?
I'm not used to listening to the theme song like
So
in
loud?
surround sound. It's loud. You're not talking over it. I'm just like grooving, hoping Jason's watching and dancing along.
I hope so, man. We got to get him in here because like the JBLs we're pumping. You don't really get to hear the bass.
He would love to dance around in this place.
Yeah. So here we are, finally back in the studio, which we this is what we deserve, as far as doing the show correct, and it's
great.
It's so much. It's like I was saying before. It's a little bit more relaxed. It's just you and me, kind of recapping the last year. It's almost been a year, but I figure it's better to do it now, because as the spring, as things heat up.
Things heat up. We're gonna get busy.
There's gonna be more things going on, more guests.
Right.
So I wanted to do this now, kind of get it out of the way or whatever.
It's perfect.
But how does it feel from going to people talk to you about Totally Local Podcast, and you're obviously a guest, co-host. People ask you what part you play on the show.
I'm still diverting to my my podcast pirate status.
Okay.
I kind of like that I came up with Mike Timpany last week. It's your show, man, but I just kind of like, I got somebody that wants to be on it.
Yeah.
Fill in the blanks, and I'll sit there as the sidekick and talk from time to time. But it's good. It's just you and I.
Yeah. Well, you fill in the blanks. You certainly did over the last year, because when people were shitting bricks and they didn't know what to do, obviously people didn't want to do them in person. Some people are. It's funny. There's some people that are averse to doing the Zoom. They don't like to do. They feel it's impersonal, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's like it's kind of like the phone. What's the difference?
It's kind of like the phone. I'm doing a shoot later. People ask me if I still sell insurance now, because, I'm like, I'm in the content creating business now,
Yeah.
like changing my title, from insurance sales guy to
Content creator.
content creator, employee of OK7 and Totally Local Podcast.
Yeah. What's the one you're doing? What's the show you're doing? What are you doing today?
So I am being interviewed later for a national sales meeting for one of our vendors. So IPFS, a premium finance company that we work with. So when we write larger businesses, the insurance companies require them to pay in full. So there's a third-party company that steps in and finances the insurance premiums. They pay off the insurance company. The client pays the finance company, and everybody's happy. Everybody
happy.
gets paid. Everybody charges a fee. So we do a lot of work with this one company, IPFS.
They hooked you up.
So Lauren and Antero had invited me because they're like, you like to be behind the camera, so why don't you do an interview and a customer testimonial for their national sales meeting? Yeah, in front of the camera, that thing. They hired a firm to do it, and they sent this thing out like, we're going to send you a camera and a microphone, and we're going to do it over Zoom. So I responded like, what's a Zoom? I got a very serious reply, like, well, it's like Skype and GoToMeeting, and we're going to send you this camera, and you're going to connect it to your computer. And I'm like, I was just kidding.
I was just kidding. We get
Sorry,
it.
we haven't met. You don't know that I'm joking, but I just had to try to throw a joke in there. And
It's funny when it makes it even better sometimes when it doesn't land. When they're like, Zoom. Well, there's this thing called a computer where people use to communicate now.
like, wait, I'm interviewing you, to give this video testimonial, and you don't even know what digital platform we're going to be using? Like, hello.
Well, that's cool. They hooked you up with a nice microphone, a new camera.
So thank you, Lauren and Antero.
That's the way to do
for the new gear. I got to get back to the office and get it all hooked up and make sure it works.
Your office is cleaned up because your photo shoot yesterday went pretty well.
Thanks to the Gooch.
Yeah.
Shout
Shout outs to the Gooch.
We,
that went splendid.
It was fun, and it's funny, so we were sitting there, everybody's doing new headshots around the office and, creating content as we're creating content so much lately.
Oh, yeah.
And then you went live at some point.
I did. I don't want to toot my own horn too much. That's not true. But I did it at the perfect spot because you were like walking out the door and you were coming out there with your swagger, and then you can kind of hear Lil Jon and the Yin Yang Twins in the
I was
background.
like getting my sleeves all set, like you went live, and I got amped up.
You were
like,
in the zone.
Game face went on, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready for my new headshots.
Michael Guccione was happy because he was like trying to get you to do stuff, and he was like, I don't know, the shifting, mover, and then as soon as I said, all right, we're live, you just kind of straightened up and like got your game face on. So that's the trick. We just got to be like, Aaron, we're live.
We're just live.
You've been.
I'm addicted to the live.
You've been inspiring me now too, because your podcast pirate. Your modus operandi now is you just hit people up and you're just like, hey, either come on my show or hey, I'll be on your show, and that's what happened with Timpani and Specs, right?
That's what happened with Timpani, and it's funny. So I brought tequila to Timpani and to Ming. We had a drink during the show. Timpani went live yesterday with another guest who brought a bottle of bourbon. So I'm like, I set you up with
you're onto something.
With a new theme there. All your guests now have to bring you a bottle as a peace offering.
Well, and then also you did epic shouts to Carrie. You did brand groupies
right.
a couple weeks ago. And it's funny because like I don't know how other people view, totally local to me. Everybody's around here. If you're local, then we should all connect on stuff. And it's interesting when you start to meet like-minded people or really kind of work on that network. First of all, you find out that you probably are 1 degree separated from somebody you don't know in the area, especially if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or a colorful character. And also, since everyone's doing this stuff, it just kind of behooves everybody involved in creating to kind of work together. And,
I think it's great for everybody. I mean, we started this journey, my journey, so to speak, and we just started creating content and as a guest and just kept rolling with it. And I think it's great for any of the local podcasters and the local scene to jump on each other's shows, share each other's content, because that's all we can do, at the local level, at the middle market level, is continue to support each other and, learn something new every single time I'm on someone else's show. Every time you're interviewing somebody, I mean, your interview with Brian Katz at 10th Avenue Burrito.
That was awesome.
I mean, that was one of the greatest tie-ins between the Grateful Dead and Carrie's husband.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere.
Magical.
That you learn something new every time you're doing something, and that's how we like to operate. And
Well, I just kind of came up with some ideas, some ways of reaching out, and I've discovered recently. Man, what kind of professional is this? What kind of turn your phone off, man.
Oh man, and mine didn't even go off because I went live before we.
Some 201 number.
I went live before we were even live. Like,
sorry, James is
has
yelling
this whole
at
thing.
me.
Oh, he's zooming in. Show him the text. Show the text. Show the text to the camera.
I turned it off. I turned it off. It was a landline. It was some spam bullshit. I turned it off. Sorry, James. Epic shouts, James, Eustace, Rec Productions.
Just when you have to hold the Mexican power outage. What do you call that thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Put it on the seat. I'll be like, sorry.
Every time your phone rings,
But anyway, March is National New Jersey Podcast Month, according to me. So I'm going to be interviewing a lot more podcasters that are in and around the Jersey Shore area. I think it's important because there are a lot of stuff going around, and it's interesting to see. Ming had whose podcast was it? They did one up from was it Alternate Ending Beer and
I saw that yesterday. Yeah.
And they had the dude. They were showing Clerks in the background. They had the dude from Clerks on the podcast via satellite Zoom, whatever they're using. And, there's so many people that are doing interesting things, and I think it's important to kind of connect on that level. Meeting more people like Carrie, it's cool to see, what others are.
Well, didn't she hook you up with somebody that, it sounds like we're going to do maybe not a happy hour, but a breakfast?
Yeah.
A brunch edition?
Yeah, we're working on super secret special guests. We'll see once we get the logistics, all figured out as far as what they want to do. So yeah, it's just kind of a network. It's kind of growing. People with everything going on, you got to see if people want to do in person. The way I laid it out is like you want to do in person, in store, or on Zoom, and either way is fine with me.
We're not doing one at a restaurant on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't want to. Well, I got to ask.
We're not doing a cooking class.
I got to see what people want. I got to at least put the options out there. Obviously, I want to sit there and have like some French toast, while I interview somebody. We still got to figure out the logistics as far as how do we. The Rooney's one was interesting. First of all, the Rooney's one was awesome because the food was awesome. The chef was awesome,
Chef was great.
And the guest was great too. And it's just a really, going forward or how we've been moving. It's like figuring out the logistics as far as, all right, I want to eat, I want to drink, and I want to do the podcast. Maybe we should do the podcast first, then have a drink, then afterwards we eat, because otherwise you're just chewing into a microphone, and that can't be good. So, speaking of chewing into a microphone, you have your own podcast coming out very soon, beginning of March.
Are we launching next week?
Yeah, and insurance podcast.
God.
Aaron, you are helming the ship. You are the captain of that pirate ship. You are. It's captain on a pirate ship.
I'm the
right?
captain of I'm sure there's a head pirate.
There's got to be a
captain.
head pirate. You got to call him something, and he's a captain. So anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And insurance. Now, the reason this kind of came about is because we kind of, we do videos for your YouTube channel and we talk about things, but I am not very well. I'm more well-versed now in insurance than I've ever been in my life, but
right. I'm
not as well-versed in it as some of the guests we've had when you guys talk. After we do, my silly podcast, we would always get into these conversations, or I should say you would get into these conversations with the guests. I think the first one where it really came up for me was the Rooney's one. Who was the guest on that one?
With Lauren Flanagan, from Synergy Retirement.
Yeah, you guys were rocking it with the chef. Like you guys were getting into some serious deep
talking investments and and
so like
safe financing options, none of that crypto stuff.
Yeah, nobody needs that.
Save that for Scott.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Scott's expertise. Scott, where are you? You ready to come back on?
We gotta get him. We gotta go down the whole list. There's so many people, but
it's got to recycle everybody again. It's fine.
But I don't mind. That was a very interesting discussion. I liked how he set up his Bitcoin. Buy it with cash with an Amazon. He was laying stuff out. He was not telling people what to do, but hypothetically, he was giving you some scenarios. You guys should go back and listen to that. It's pretty interesting on how he would.
What was the price of Bitcoin when he was on? It was probably in the
when he was on
just about 20.
Yeah, it might have been around 20 or 30 grand. So it has gone up a tad. People are very sad. I don't know if I told you this story yesterday. There's this comedian I like, Chris DiStefano. And he was on Twitter, and he was like, I'm Bitcoin, baby, I bought it. It was, I checked the timestamps on it too. So he bought at the literal height of like 60. He bought it at 62,000, and then 2 days later, he's like, sold all my Bitcoin. It was like 40. I checked the timestamp when he posted it. If he sold it when he posted the tweet, he sold it at 48,000, which is. You're not supposed to buy high and sell low. That's not what you're supposed to do.
You're supposed to stick to comedy, not
I mean,
investing.
if you're or just hold on to it for like look at the past graph and see that it goes up and it goes down. And
right.
If you're willing to put in the money, you have to have at least a little patience. That's like, you set up your garden, you plant your little cucumber seed, and you're like, I want a pickle. Where's the pickle? And then you just rip everything out because you can't have a pickle.
Gotta just keep waiting for it. Just gotta keep waiting for it.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, either do that or don't play. Don't play, bro.
It's too rich for my blood.
Yeah. At this point, it's a lot of money.
I'm gonna stick to investing in the business and keep selling more insurance, and that's why we dipped into the and insurance.
Yeah.
circling back to that.
Well,
right?
I mean the first guest too, Kevin Muldowney. It was pretty interesting. The concept being that you kind of want to keep it to these like quote unquote like bite-sized, like easily digestible episodes. I think we settled on like 15-20 minute.
15-20 minutes.
And listening back to it, if if you have a business, obviously, it might not be right for everybody that listens to this podcast, but if you own a business and you have employees, specifically for that first episode, going over the 1099 stuff, I don't think people, the stuff that you talked about too was funny, because I've heard that before. I've experienced that before, where it's like, oh, we'll just 1099 them, blah, 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 and you really don't know what you're supposed to do,
right,
how that works with workers' comp and all that stuff. And I think that having a 15-20 minute podcast about that with a tax professional, you as a professional, and then him as a professional talking about it, as opposed to me just kind of like, I have like really rudimentary.
It's a different dynamic, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we're like, all right, Totally Local is great. The interviews that we're doing are great for me putting some content out, but let's tie in another professional, and that's why we called it ... and insurance.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a topic, and we're tying it to insurance. So 1099s, W-2s, workers' comp, easy tie-in. Having Beth as our next guest, easy tie-in. We've got 2 guests lined up for next week or the following week, whenever we're shooting again. And they're great topics, and it ties in what we're doing. But the 15 minutes I love, because that's how I consume content.
Yeah.
Bite-sized bits of content. I love Totally Local, but
a little more long form.
If I was in the office, I'd probably have it like on a third screen somewhere, listening, watching with a half of an eye.
Yeah,
and, that's probably what many people do. Or even listen, but I don't drive for an hour, so I can't consume a whole hour-long podcast, but I can consume 15, 20 minutes and get enough content, enough information where it's in my head, and then I move on to the next.
Yeah.
We don't need to kill a subject either. We just need to give enough out, and if you want more, you can always call me.
You got to really ask. Yeah, exactly. Enough to where it's like, all right, well, I want to know more, or shit, I need to do something about this, and then you can obviously
We're teasing it, 15-minute teasers.
Yeah.
But again, it ties in the Totally Local theme, because it's local professionals.
Kevin Muldowney.
So we're just going to keep running and creating more content. It's so much fun.
Go Seraphs. We went to the same high school. We're from the same alma mater. And he was a year older than me. And we didn't, he was a football dude. He was a jock, and I, of course, was not a jock. So we didn't run in the same circles, but it's interesting. He knows my cousin. I mean, it's local, so you know people. But
so my wife just texted me. She was like, "Our new Peloton just arrived." I'm like, I didn't even know it was showing up.
A new Peloton? So you have 2?
So we have 2, but we're getting rid of the old one.
Oh, I thought you guys were gonna do like tandem competitions.
Oh shit! I'm live on a podcast.
Why would you answer a text about a Peloton arrive? Does she need? Is there an emergency?
It's an emergency.
Is she carrying it? Is that part of the Peloton exercise?
I don't know what the fuck is going on
carrying it inside
right
the house.
I don't know what.
What was wrong with the old Peloton?
So if you need to know my Peloton story, and now people watching are going to think that I'm a snob when it comes to it, but my bike, the current bike that we have, it's like 3 years old, 3.5 years old. It's got a ton of miles on it, and they had a promotion going on for existing owners to then get a rebate on a new bike. So they give you a nice discount. They take the old one back.
Oh.
But the old one was like starting to be, the software was a little bit glitchy. Like, I'm like, all right, we're kind of coming to the end of life here with this thing.
What is the difference between like a Peloton and like one of the old ones that like my grandmother?
Well, there's none of this on the Peloton. It's just a stationary bike, but it's a solid piece of equipment. I mean, I weigh 250 pounds. We want a good, solid piece of equipment, and I like to cycle.
Is there like a screen? Are you like going down a road?
Big
or something?
screen. No, you do the live classes. They have scenic rides, so you could do a scenic ride if you don't want to do a live class or a recorded class. But Peloton has the best trainers, the best instructors in the world. I may be biased because, we've been riding for years on this and thousands of miles on the Peloton. You can tell my fit,
Your six-pack
frame.
abs.
Six-pack abs when they're painted on. So apparently, the new bike is there, and my wife's on calls, and she's freaking out, and
What's she freaking out about?
because she's got to open the door and get the Wi-Fi set up so they can turn it on. I'm like, I don't know the Wi-Fi
man.
password.
That's like...
I guess I could look it up for her, but she's not happy about it.
You gotta keep that password, that Wi-Fi password.
I didn't. He's zooming in to see my Wi-Fi password. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it.
Totally live. What are you gonna do, people?
So we are Google Mesh at home. We are on the Mesh network.
Thank goodness.
Get that camera off me, bro.
Why don't you have like a simple, or do you have like some kind of like capital X, lowercase x, blah 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 question mark kind of password?
No, I just looked it up, and it's
don't tell anybody.
And it's pretty
Scott
pretty
is
simple.
watching, and he would be disgusted if he saw what we were doing.
It's pretty simple. Don't mind me. You keep talking. Keep talking.
Totally local. We're local. We're live. He's looking up his password. It's totally fine. And I want you guys to know that you can expect this level of professionalism not only from me and Aaron in the future, but also even more so. You notice the countdown. Epic shouts to James, Rex Productions, who knew my slack ass wasn't going to make one, and he is such a perfectionist that he went ahead and made an intro, splash screen. He did an outro, and we really, if we're going to be doing studio stuff, if we're going to be doing Zoom stuff, we're going to be doing it from here as long as it's not, super late because, I don't know what James's schedule is like, and I got to put a kid to bed at night, so it makes it a lot easier, to do that a little differently. But when we can, we're going to be in the studio with people, set up a little picture-in-picture over in here, this area, and do a little zoomy kind of, Zoom stuff.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, I've been talking. I've been coming to James, and I've been like, listen, do you have a green screen? Because I want to do X, Y, Z. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I have this hip-hop video, and I really want to add in, a floating head. Can we do that? He's like, yes. Then he starts looking at stuff. And then I'm like, well, you know what would be cool? The background's going to be space. So can I, float around? Do you guys have some kind of harness kind of situation?
They have a pole.
Yeah, we started to look these things up and figure this stuff out. And I'm like,
so are you moving in here?
I don't want to say I'm moving in.
Are you squatting a little bit?
Epic shouts to the whole crew over here.
Is there a microphone in the sound booth? Can James chime in? I kind of want to get his side of the story.
If he could, I don't know how that would work as far as the speaker. We're still figuring all that stuff out. Oh, he gave me the hold on a second. So I think he can talk. I think he can come in.
He's going to grab a wireless and come in real quick.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do, but he's doing something. But I've come in before and I've been like, look, I got to get some work done. And then epic shouts to Cal's at the front desk. She's like, yeah, just sit down and do some, do some work, do some stuff, do what you gotta do.
That front room is a great spot to...
Can you guys hear me okay?
God?
Yeah, and the stream can hear me too. So what were you asking me to comment on?
The logistics as far as hooking up harnesses and if...
so he's like, so we want to do this video and, it is from space, it'd be really awesome if you could string me up. But do you have any kind of harness? I was like, we have one. And he's like, come on, dude. And I'm like, no, we can absolutely do it. We can hang you from the ceiling, And he was all about it. He was like, okay, no problem, we'll do that.
When? Let's put a date on this. I want to be here. I want to be in the audience. I want to be watch from the control room, with tequila in hand.
Yes, definitely. They'll have to be
watch Andrew floating around in space.
Yes,
we'll make sure to keep it open invite then.
Yeah, they'll turn into a little party.
We'll turn it into a party.
Turn
anything into a party.
On this.
Yeah, thank you, James. Thanks for everything.
So we found a green screen yesterday. Remember in my office.
Yeah, there was some random. You're like, oh, we have a random room, a hidden room, and I guess they use that. What's it called? Landmark 360 uses it as what is it called when you have testers in one room and then you have the The two-way
They
mirror.
have the two-way mirror focus groups.
Yeah,
they have their focus group
groups.
room set up between the conference room, and then there's a studio space. But then there's the green screen that Start Monday Media uses. Nick from Start Monday rents space in my building. He does all the video work for Butcher Block.
Crazy.
We got to get Nick on Totally Local.
Yeah, I
He'd
got
be a
his
cool
card.
guest.
We're gonna get him. We'll get him in here and interview.
Because he does some pretty good. He does some. I mean, he does great video work. If you watch any of the Block videos,
Butchered Block is
awesome.
amazing. You see the people that roll through there. Their audience or their reach is great.
Huge.
And I guess they're renovating the whole inside of it. Do it while it's cold, right before it gets warm, and then they're gonna just hit the ground running. That place is wild. I've been in there for like a minute once, and like people were ready to rock. They were ready to.
We had dinner there. There's a couple guys, 4 guys. I got invited like the day before or like the morning of. Like, we have a boat reservation at the Block, and I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things like I'm not even gonna ask permission. I'm just gonna show up. It's like it's gold. So it's like 4 guys show up, and we had a 4 p.m. reservation. So it's like early bird special. I'm like,
wow.
Do we get soup and salad with our steak? There's like 4 bottles of wine on the table, and then we just wound up going out afterwards. It's just,
really?
It's just the energy in there. It's fantastic. The energy's great.
How was the steak? What did you have?
Steaks are great. I mean, we had
That's what they say.
a bunch of ribeye, bone-in ribeye,
Nice.
and a strip steak. You get the mac and cheese, the Brussels sprouts, some sausage, some bacon.
Some meat.
You go there for the meat sweats.
Yeah. That's why you have a Peloton.
And it's worth it. And then the next day, Peloton sweat it out a little
sweats,
bit.
Peloton sweats.
That's it.
So
great.
Man, it's been roughly a year. How's you doing? How's LG Insurance? Were you shitting bricks like about a year ago, and then like how's business been going since then?
Right. So we had a party. The last LG, well, not the last one because we did one in the fall, but the last LG event pre-pandemic was like March 6th.
The Wine Loft?
At the Wine Loft. We did the wine tasting event. Vincent came out. Tom was there. We had all the guys from the Wine Loft were there for a wine tasting event. We had a great turnout. That was March 6th. And a week later is when the MRF put the lockdown on and said, you're not having St. Patrick's Day. So that was that was the last event that went down, was that March 6th. And before we got locked up. So then things started getting a little dicey. Everybody was shut down. Businesses were closed. We didn't know what was going on. We made some changes around the office, which were all good changes. And we just kind of waited it out, did what we had to do, and that's what we still do. We're still doing what we have to do, but we're growing, man.
People were calling you. Would you say people were calling you more? Were they calling you less? Did the conversation shift around the current situations? Like, were people avoiding you? Were people like, I need help? What am I gonna do?
It's a lot. Everybody was scared for those period of time. Like every business that was shut down was like, I'm not paying my insurance. I'm still closed. We're like, well, you still have risk because you own a building, and what if it burns down? And what if somebody comes on your property and slips and falls and gets hurt? And it becomes a whole mess. And a lot of businesses got back up and running. A lot of restaurants did really, really well with the outdoor dining. I think people seem to really enjoy the outdoor dining. They were able to put more seats out than they would have normally inside for the summer. While there were challenges, and it was very difficult, so many people stepped up and did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to summer 21 of having these expanded outdoor spaces still. Hopefully the municipalities are going to keep it going.
Yeah.
Long Branch, Red Bank, Manasquan, hopefully Asbury Park, they'll all keep it going so we can enjoy the outdoor vibe, because once we have more vaccines, a little herd immunity, whatever I read on Facebook that's actual and factual, we're going to be in a good spot. And come warm weather.
The Murphster, he's trickling out. He's letting people open up a little bit more here and there.
And you can smoke weed.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being Rip Van Winkle and passing out last January, and then waking up right now and just being what's going on? oh, you can't go out. You gotta put a mask on. Oh, okay. Hey man, what are you doing? You're smoking weed. Yeah, you could smoke all the weed you want. Doesn't matter. Well, if you're sick, when you got cancer, or something? No, I'm totally healthy. I'm just really high because now it's completely legal in New Jersey for some
You just can't
reason.
eat inside a restaurant.
Yeah, you just can't eat inside. What? Well, you can't eat inside a restaurant, and you can't go inside places unless you have a mask on your face. What? Don't they worry about bank robbers and stuff? No, it's not a problem anymore. No one's worried about people covering their masks to rob somewhere. You have to cover a mask because people don't want to die. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, sure. That's the world that we're living in now.
We're not worried about bank robbers from a physical, stick up your hands aspect. It's the digital criminals.
Yeah, now you're worried more about
way ahead and way more sophisticated, and we are going to have a cyber-related digital criminal theft style show on And Insurance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so much to go over.
It's
that.
crazy because that market keeps evolving.
Have people been asking you more about that, or is it more? I have friends that are in IT, and if you know how IT people are. They're IT people, so they're grumpy and they complain because people always come to them after the fact.
Well, we had Randy Drozd on from Profulgent Technologies.
Yeah. Yes.
Talking about
He wasn't grumpy, by the way.
IT stuff.
Love you, Randy.
And then when it's too late, it's too fucking late.
Yeah. So when people are coming to you, or I guess it would be more of a thing where you're like, listen, like if they come to you for insurance for their business, E&O, whatever kind of things that can protect them from future events, which is what insurance is all about. Is it more of a thing where you're mentioning to them, hey guys, we live in an internet age now. There's no going back, and this is a thing that you should really consider, like your cyber security. Like, is it something where you're mentioning it to people, or are people coming to you more and like asking you about it?
People are asking us about it. They want to know. They hear stories, they read articles, because it's a mess, and anybody that's got personal information of their clients should be scared shitless about that, data getting out
it's
into
not
the
even
general
like,
public, or money getting stolen.
Yeah. It's not even like your information, it's like your customer's information gets out, then you're on the hook and you're in trouble. I mean, I have epic shouts to Ralph Gould out there, IDS Tech. He tells me stories all the time of like people open up their computer, click on some, ridiculous link, and then they ransom your computer. They ransom all your data. They ransom your all. You can't even log into any computer, and they're like, give us 1 Bitcoin.
1 Bitcoin. That's an expensive ransom now.
Yeah.
I mean, I got an email this morning. I knew it was fraudulent because I knew who it was from, and I know how they speak in their emails.
And it was like,
it had an
"Hello,
attachment.
sir."
It said, hey, this attachment is for you, is for that information you were looking for. Here's a password to open the attachment. Like they went, it's really legit because it's password protected.
Yeah.
So I took a screenshot of my phone, deleted the email, and I fired the screenshot out via text. Be like, so and so was compromised in your office. Like, get your managed service provider over there. Like, when you have a Profulgent technology, they're on top of that and able to get in it and help protect you from it, which is super, super important. Like, if you're not ahead of it and you're behind it, you're totally fucked.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's something that definitely now, when Rip Van Winkle woke up and he could smoke weed and he's got to put a mask on, he's also got to consider the fact that, like, we're doing more and more stuff online. It ain't going away, and you definitely have to, like, consider that from a personal perspective all the way up to a business thing. I get emails all the time like, should I open this? And the answer is always no. Like, if you have to ask, there's nothing that's that important to where you'd have to click on it to open it. So don't open it. Don't ever open it. I remember I did that on Twitter, this is years ago, clicked on check this out, reading blah, blah, blah. And it just screwed up my whole lifestyle. And I had to sit there because I'm a nerd and I figured it out, cleaned it up, yada, yada, yada. But not everybody's as nerdy as me, believe it or not.
I had an issue 10, maybe not 10 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago with a ransomware related issue. It affected one computer. It didn't get out anywhere. and all of our data was backed up.
That's good.
So we were able to basically just blow the computer up, and we had all of our data backed up off-site, so that data didn't get affected. But it was a bit of a headache, and it was before like cyber insurance was, that was very early days of cyber liability insurance, where there would be ransomware coverage, so to speak. But we were good. We had our data. Like, all right, I did an okay job. It wasn't great. It wasn't perfect, but we did an okay job. And the employee that done fucked that one up she still works for me today.
She's on notice though.
But now we have a policy like, hey, if you fuck up this bad, I can fire you on the spot.
Nice.
And they sign that. Like, don't open emails unless you're truly expecting them.
Don't.
Or else I can really, freak out and, do the deed.
So what, the weather's getting nice. Obviously, we're going to be doing more on-location stuff. I've been reminiscing about the OPC show recently. I can't wait to get back there. And people perk up at this time. Like, I've talked to real estate agents, and I'm just like, if you don't know the drill by now, you're never going to know the drill. Like, in this area, probably in other areas too, but like, it's about to get nutty. Like, once the spring hits, people like call and want to do stuff. So like, be prepared. Is that the same thing with insurance, or do you get like hit up now, or are you will you see like an influx of specific types of calls now that the weather's getting warmer? Like, people gonna hit you up about like their boat? Are people gonna hit you up about like their house? Like, how does that work as far as like in your area?
Traffic today and yesterday, now that it's 50 degrees out, there's more people driving around. Like, where have you been? Like, go back home. Like, we're still in quarantine. Like, go away. Get off the roads. I'm late getting to Rex Productions. Like, get out of my way. Like, I've noticed that the last 2 days, there's more people on the road because it's getting
melted,
nice out. Things are melting. And people get antsy to do stuff. That's why we've been trying to talk about putting some events together and getting things on the calendar first, because we see some opportunities, some daylight coming. And yeah, so in our market, in the Jersey Shore insurance marketplace, people are going to be coming out of hiding and be ready to open up new businesses. And existing businesses are going to ramp up for the spring buying season and the summer restaurant season and everything else going on, that way. So March is one of our busiest months.
Really?
And our cycle of business, February is typically quiet, but this February we're very busy. And we haven't slowed down because of the real estate market has been helpful also. We've been maintaining solid levels of new business growth, a lot of it real estate related, but I said this months ago that I anticipate the spring small business marketplace going through the roof, and we put some new technologies in play that we're starting to teeter with and work with, just to try to streamline and make it easier for us, make it easier for the consumer, and it's the experience we want. We want a simple interface between us and the consumer, and be able to respond to people when they want to be responded to,
and be able to keep the momentum going as far as making all this time for your content creation.
Because I want to be here.
We still got to start our tequila podcast.
Looking at this, and we need more tequila podcasts. Yes.
Nuno.
Anytime.
Yes, definitely.
All right, that happens.
I was going to bring a bottle, God, wherever you might be. But we wound up drinking a whole bottle of tequila yesterday during the photo shoot.
Oh, man.
I did see Andrew post that photo shoot, so I heard about the tequila.
Woo! Yeah.
We're waiting for the Gooch to develop those. But yeah, we'll do another tequila tasting. I'm on board.
What? Nuno.
What did Nuno say?
Nuno wants to know when you're running for mayor.
Buon tempo, you're fine. You don't have to worry about me.
Yeah, buon tempo. Your seat is safe.
Tell Nuno to come back. Nuno, come back to New Jersey, and get out of Florida. Stop hiding in the nice, beautiful, warm weather, making pork roll, egg, and cheese for ungrateful guests. I miss you on Brighton Avenue, even though I'm not on Brighton Avenue anymore. But so Nuno ran a cafe on Brighton Avenue in West End, where my original office was. And it used to be like a daily breakfast spot. There was a couple people, you go in there, people at the counter.
Oh, yeah.
I
miss that shit, man.
we had a good time, you know. So what's up, Nuno? I'll say hi to Scott for you when I go in for a workout tomorrow.
You could still,
yeah.
I mean, you could do a podcast. You could still have your insurance company, and you could be mayor.
It's too much. You know what I'd rather
I mean,
do?
what is the mayor really? No offense
I'm going back to Nuno.
Juan Tempo.
Nuno, I'm going to come to Florida, and we're going to podcast at Nuno's Cafe.
That sounds good. That sounds nice.
Are you coming? Lauren, Andrew's got to go.
I gotta go. It's a professional obligation. I have to be there. I have to go. What is mayor? What do you got a big pair of those gold scissors. You got the gold shovel. You cut a couple ribbons. You dig a couple holes, and you have council. That's what the council's for. The councilmen, people, council persons.
People just dig too much dirt up if you're mayor, and nobody's nice to the mayor.
Nobody's nice
unless
to
you
the
want
mayor?
unless you want favors. I don't know. It
I
seems
mean,
it seems like a very thankless, no pay volunteer position. I've got enough volunteer positions.
Yeah.
Does the mayor get paid? I don't know. They don't think they make a lot. Maybe they make a couple of bucks.
They got to make some money.
But it's not their full-time job in most cases. It's a part-time.
After digging into the whole Homedale situation with Bontempo and the other people, I'm like, why are you guys so angry? You know, I know that
to deal with crotchety residents.
If somebody's tree falls in your district. Is the councilman going to sue you? You know, kind of an old adage.
It's a mess, you know. Like Long Branch, you know, the older folks in town are very upset that there's redevelopment on the ocean front and that there's buildings going up and there's tax abatements and so on. I'm like, this is great. New buildings, I think, are awesome. That's my personal opinion. You know, but some people like the old desolate boardwalk where crimes were committed and people got murdered and drugs were sold. Like, some people like that and wish they still had that to hold on to.
Well, they were doing
not clean, nice new buildings with brand new boardwalks and places to go and shop.
With the pier and everything was that they were doing the shenanigans with the eminent domain. Now, granted, if it's dilapidated house and they want to put something in there and it's going to be beautiful, I'm all for that. But if it's like a house and people are living in it and they're not getting what they, you know, I know some people.
Most of it was dilapidated.
Yeah. So I know people on both sides of the argument with that, and I am not educated enough on either side to really weigh in on what I feel. But I'm all for growth and revitalization and building it up. And Long Branch, they need a lot of help down there. Was I talking to you about that yesterday? How downtown it used to be? I was talking to James about it. Downtown Long Branch, back in the day, it used to be like a jazz hub, famous jazz musicians.
On Broadway, right? The Arts District.
But if you go down there now, it's like it does not.
So that's still in the plans, and that's something that hopefully in the next couple of years will come down.
Owns all that shit, right?
The Arts District, where the theater is, what's the theater's name? Whatever it's called. There's a small arts theater for live performances and stuff on Broadway. Like, that district is supposed to be next on the list to be redone, and it'll flow right from the beach up Broadway, and it could be great. Nice. But there's challenges to retail right now. It's hard to build buildings and put shopping stores in it. Everything is a freaking food court nowadays, and
Froyo. People all about the Froyo.
Froyo is expensive. It's like you go to make your own. It's like $27 because you put too many toppings on it.
If you're ever dealing like retail, commercial real estate, it's all about like, can we get a Froyo in there? When you talk to an agent, they always want to put a Froyo something. They're like, a Froyo? Can we throw a Froyo in there?
They always want a Froyo.
I guess because it's easy. It's not a lot of. There's no grease involved.
It's easy, yeah.
But I'm not. What's I don't know. Frozen yogurt. Come on. Why don't you just have some ice cream, like an American? What's with frozen yogurt?
There's that Coney waffle place in Pier Village, and
if you had a waffle in there, that's a different story. I don't know what you do with a froyo.
Now I'm hungry
gelato?
with some ice cream for lunch.
Could be ice cream sandwiches.
Ice cream sandwiches.
Or we can go Mexican, get a Choco Taco, depending on how you want to go.
So can you have a Choco Taco and tequila?
I think we could do that. I think we could kind of make some kind of mixed drink out of that as well. But, or do a shot.
Blend it up.
Eat a taco, a Choco Taco. Yeah,
onto
retail.
something.
Retail is going to be really tough. Speaking of retail, man, those bastards over at Best Buy. Did I tell you this story?
What'd
Did
they
I
do?
rant about this?
What'd they do?
I'm going over to your photo shoot, and I pull in to Best Buy because it's on the way, and it's the one in Eatontown, which I have a problem. You know, every time I've gone in there, it's like people aren't helpful or nice, and it's just very frustrating. So anyway, I pull in there because it's there. I see that there's some little slovenly youngster with his Best Buy shirt all untucked, looking like looking very unprofessional, coming out and bringing a customer whatever bag of whatever, you know, charger he bought. And so I walk up to the young gentleman. I know what I need. Can I just go in? I know it opens at 11. He's like, no, you can't go in there. He's got his mask on. He's outside. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, but fine, whatever. We were socially distant. But he was very rude, very curt. And I'm just like, this is why I am unemployable, because I couldn't work. When I worked, aging myself a little bit, but when I was a youngster, when in my college days, when I was at my poorest, I had a job at Blockbuster Video.
Oh.
And they have secret shoppers come in and evaluate you. And I got one of the worst scores in the history of the store, because people would come in, they'd be like, what do you think of this movie? I'd be like, I don't like it. It's not a very good movie. And they're like, you can't say that to people. I'm like, well, what are you supposed to say? If I don't like the movie, you know, what do you want me to do? Anyway, back to the Best Buy. I'm like, bro, can I just go in? And, no, we're not open yet. And he like stormed off, and I went to follow him, but the automatic doors just closed and they locked. And I'm like, Levine! But I'm like, why? And I was talking to my wife about this last night. And they're like, well, the registers aren't open yet. They can't just let you in. I'm like, yeah, but you could. He told me I could get the app on my phone and order it, and they could bring it out. And I'm like, why can't I just go in there now, point at it?
See, that's your problem.
What?
You should have known
Yeah.
before you left your house, while you were still in your skivvies, order it.
I didn't. I thought about it on the
Hit
way.
send.
I'm not used to this world, Aaron.
Pick it up. I love it. I love curbside pickup. I mean,
I enjoy it when I'm prepared.
When I know
for
I need
it.
something, order, drive over, text them, they bring it to your car, drive away.
But okay,
See, I don't want to go into a store. I don't want to go into the store. I don't want to go into Best Buy.
I didn't have the stupid app on my phone. I downloaded the Bob's Furniture app the other day. Didn't work. I was like, I'm not downloading any more apps on my phone. I'm not doing it, especially for some retail place. And I'm just like, you pull up the Best Buy app. You look for what they don't have it in this area. You got to go to a different one. There's all these things where if I could just walk into a store and I could point, I need the USB-C to the USB-B. I need a charger plug. I need an external hard drive. I could just point at it and be like this. And the idea, like if it were me in that slovenly little like position, I would just been like, yeah, whatever, man, come on in, like go pick out your stuff. But most people aren't like that. I guess that's why
you're not very COVID friendly. You're not COVID friendly. You're like, hey, I just want to go shop.
I had a mask on. I was following all the rules except for they weren't technically open yet. Anyway.
Did you get what you needed?
Yeah, because I went to PC Richards. They were open, and Tony Guccione down there, not Guccione, what was the guy's name? It was Siccione. Tony Siccione over there, older gentleman, very friendly. I guess maybe I'm just old school. Because I went there and the guy didn't know his ass from his elbow when it came to computer shit. I was basically pointing out to him, I'm like, I need that, I need that, I need that. And he helped me pay for it so I could go about my friggin' day. But I'm just like, why I guess that's the world. That's the world we live in now. That's the world we live in now.
Feel better now?
I mean, a little bit.
Got it off a little bit?
A little
bit. Got what you needed?
I just don't understand.
We had a good day yesterday.
Yesterday was fun. It's just
you got a camera pointing at you right now, microphone on your lapel.
It's funny to think about that as like the world now. Like that is it. You're going to have to use an app, and you're not going to be able to be able to look at things and be like a ape brain, being like, You got to like go down a list, read a review. I don't want to do that, man. I just want to point at stuff and like just pick it up with my hands and buy it with cash. When was the last time you used cash?
This morning for my coffee.
Boosker do? You use cash?
Use cash.
Why didn't you use a card?
because I got my hair cut, and then the Boosker Doo is right across the parking lot. So I walked over there.
Chop, chop, bang, bang. Where'd you get your hair cut?
In Evolution Salon. I go. You
gotta go salon. Speaking
salon.
of salon, I gotta go.
And so I'm like, I could order it on my app, but they always say 10 minutes when you order it on the app. And so I walked over there. I'm like, oh, can I order in person? And she's like, yeah, what do you want?
No, you can't. It's not open yet.
And then she brings over the little credit card machine. I'm like, oh, can I pay cash? She's like, sure, we'll take cash too.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of service I want at a Best Buy.
So she made my coffee and dropped it off at the table that was at the doorway because you still can't go inside the coffee shop.
Is Boosker Doo's local?
There's a bunch. There's a bunch of them. There's one in Bell Works. There's one in Monmouth Beach.
There's a lot of good
Fairhaven.
coffee places.
There's a
Surf
couple of
Coffee
them.
Co. Rook, of course. I had Rook yesterday. I got like I got the cold brew. What is it called? The New Orleans style.
The New Orleans style.
And I was like a little twitchy. I was like, I had too much coffee today.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, it is good stuff. There's a lot of good coffee places.
It's all great.
Anyway, what do you see? You know, what do you see on the horizon? When are we going to do? When are we going to do something where we can have a gathering of people? When are people going to be? You know, the deaths are sloping down as of right now. As of last time I checked.
Let's see what happens after St. Patrick's Day.
That's probably what they're waiting for.
I think we're going to hit that St. Patrick's Day, and then we're going to go from this 33.5% occupancy to 50. And this is science, people. You know, we're gonna get to 50%.
Not only is it science, it's a little
Day.
math too, because you cannot.
It's math.
Well, you couldn't be like, oh, we're going to open up before St. Patrick's Day because that's a recipe for, that's an Irish tornado that you're stirring up and you don't want to deal with that. I didn't realize growing up, obviously I moved away, I've talked about it before, yada, yada, yada. There's a huge Irish contingent of people in and around this area. And there's people that love Irish traditions or ones that we've made up that we call Irish, such as St. Patrick's Day.
Right.
And people party hard. So opening everything up before then is probably a bad idea.
But I'm thinking like, you know, May is when we're gonna get to enjoy each other's company. OPC, we're definitely gonna have to do a summer OPC event. I'm thinking maybe something at the distillery in May. You know, start getting some people. Something here at Wrecked.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
we're
just gonna wild out.
We're gonna Uber home and
wild. I'm ready.
I advocate this behavior.
There you go. And we also got to figure out too the legalities of as far as this whole marijuana thing. I don't know what you can't smoke in public, right?
Do we know anybody that's opening a dispensary that's going legal with it?
I mean, there's Breakwater. There's a couple. I haven't been to any, and I don't know what the deal is now. Do you need a license?
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about it either. You know, I can't.
We'll do some research. We'll
do a little research and see. We're definitely going to have, since it is legal, I've put it out there. We're going to have a weed episode. Where basically I'm just sitting here, getting high, eating bonbons. But
I advocate this behavior.
No, it's gonna be like a 9-hour live stream.
Yeah, it's just gonna be me, just like
it's gonna be sleeping,
listening to Pink Floyd. But I'm optimistic. Obviously, after having a year where we thought it was going to turn into a Mad Max Thunderdome type situation, I'm very optimistic about the year ahead. I wanted to take this time to talk to you because I got to say I really appreciate what you brought in to Totally Local. You've really it took when I started it, the idea was colorful characters, local businesses, entrepreneurs, and once you kind of got the gist of that, you kind of took the ball, ran with it, and we've been having a lot of fun.
We're having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I just want to have fun, and
just want to have fun.
We're gonna profit from having fun.
Definitely.
And just keep the good vibes going
and help the people
see
too.
Who's next.
Like I love hearing the stories from 10th Ave Burrito. I love hearing about Carrie, how she came to come up and what she was up to. Brian's story is very interesting, but like there's so many stories like that, and the more people we've met along the way, it's been interesting. And I think it's kind of made a little tighter maybe community virtually of people that are Monmouth and Ocean County, that when things open up, it'll turn into even more of a party.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. I can't wait when we're sitting in these seats again next year.
Yeah.
Recapping the next 12 months.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
We'll have a video montage looping that we're watching and just giggling the whole time.
Perfect. That's what we need.
Get
all
somebody
right.
on Fiverr just clipping out every single Totally Local episode.
That's right. We're gonna hire somebody to just go back and watch all of them. We'll have like superfan Mike McHenry. Maybe he could point out some notable episodes, or I'll have to go back in there and
do a
dig some
top
things.
10 Totally Local.
My top 10. It could be like a TRL where we're sitting here and we just run the clip and then cut to the clip. Obviously, James knows how to do all that stuff. That's why I'm glad.
God, do it.
So many ideas. Keep it going.
Oh man. Well, I think that's the episode, Aaron.
Cool.
Good times ahead.
Till next time.
And more fun, more good times to happen. Thanks
Yeah,
a
man.
lot, Aaron Levine, LG Insurance, Totally Local podcast people, colorful characters, local businesses in and around the Jersey Shore area, Monmouth and Ocean County. Check us out, Instagram, totally_local_ podcast. Check us out on Facebook if you're watching it now. Just search in the little bar there for Totally Local Podcast. It's Totally Local Podcast. Totally Local Podcast. Look it up, man. I don't know what else to tell you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, James. Rec Productions, beautiful studio. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I might need another coffee. I might go to Boosker Do. I don't know. Peace.
Peace.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yes.